Alright guys, this is the Guys Afternoon In. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. And my bad. And let us know in the comments what you think of this podcast.
Bought a land.
Second Monday, sober October.
It's the 12th day of October.
It's the 12th day of October, and take note what's in front of Chad.
One caved on the 8th, not in this group. Just Chad and Charlie were doing it, and then a couple others. One caved on the 8th.
The 8th.
Charlie
That
caved
was
on
Tyler, wasn't it? When the wedding was?
No, it was Saturday.
Okay, so on the
You guys
10th.
Technically tied
Okay.
for last place.
Okay, so y'all both, 9th for you, right?
Well, we went into the evening of the 9th, so I guess, 9th and him the 10th, so I was the first,
So he
indeed.
was the first.
Barely, because of a wedding was scheduled a day after a bachelor party I went on.
Basically what they're saying is they have no willpower.
Yep.
Charlie's still going strong, though.
Still going strong.
Until probably
Losing my mind.
Yeah, going strong is a loose term.
How is that a loose term?
He's going, but I'm not sure he's strong.
I'm hanging on by
He's hanging on by a thread right now.
thin thread.
Hey, after like 2 weeks, it's got to get easier, right?
Nope.
Well, you wouldn't know. You didn't make it 2 weeks.
Well, I can tell you after 3 days, it only gets harder.
Wow. Weak.
So, squirrels, dude. I mean, like, do you think they're just, like, running across the street, and they're like, wait a second. Well, never mind. And, like, they're like, run, and then they're like, wait, I need to go back. And then they're like, okay, never mind. And then you're like, never mind.
I think this is squirrels the whole time. I think that's them the whole time.
So,
We were riding our bikes Sunday morning, me and Lauren, and they were doing it on the freaking bike trail. Like in front of my bike. I almost wiped out, ran off the trail into the freaking creek.
I almost, so Tyler and I were on the Razorback Greenway doing the trail, and we were, there were so many squirrels, and I was like, dude, you think anybody's ever just smoked one on their bike on here?
Sure.
And then 2 minutes later, no lie, like if I didn't hit my brake a little bit, I would have killed the squirrel.
You should just hit it, dude.
Well, I didn't know if that would mess up my bike or something.
No, well, you got a mountain bike. It won't hurt it.
I hit a bird on my bicycle once.
The bird or like the bike hit it or you hit it?
The bike hit it. It ran
Oh,
right
wow.
into my tires.
I was
Your
just
spokes?
Yep.
Oh, what a way to go.
Yeah,
I was just thinking about like Wild Hogs when he's riding. Gets that whole like crow.
Yeah.
You're the only one that ever was entertained by wild hogs, and that's all.
No,
that's all.
I'm right here with
Thank you.
Wow.
See again, and that fits my movie narrative. Like I like bad movies.
Me and Chad, I'm ashamed to say, have similar tastes in movies.
I like it. I've only seen it once. I saw it at the drive-in when it first came out. And
Jeez, how old are you?
What? Get a sody pop for a nickel too, Charlie?
Yeah. We went with some neighbors, I guess, and they were apparently a lot more conservative than my family was, because as soon as they got naked to go swimming, they packed up and left. And this was the first movie of the night.
We thought this was a children's establishment. Sorry.
My fiance's parents are like that too.
Yeah.
They go to a movie and there's like an F-bomb. They'll be like,
They're out.
it was a good movie. He'll be like, well, it was a good movie, but there was just some unnecessary stuff in there. I'm like, uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, every movie has cuss words in it. Like, when are you going to get used to it? Anyway.
I told y'all, TV, man. TV. My grandparents were on something. No TV in the house. Come on.
My favorite movie, Goodfellas, is like literally every other word is
Yeah.
like through the whole thing. There's an entire scene where he said at least like 20 times.
It's like Pulp Fiction, I think, has
It's a lot.
the most.
It's a
I
lot.
think.
Scarface.
Oh, yeah.
Scarface
You're right.
still holds the
You're
record
right.
for the most F words.
Is it? I feel
was-
like it's something else now.
It was like one every 30 seconds.
Yeah. We so my parents, it was one of my dad's favorite movies, and we got the TV Guardian thing to try to censor movies so we could watch more movies. He's like, oh, now we got this, let's try Scarface. And so we put it on, and literally it was just silence for
Number
the
two.
first 3 minutes. Is it? What is it?
They shouldn't count movies that were made to be like, we have the most cuts.
It's literally a documentary about it.
About the F word.
About the
Yeah,
F word?
yeah.
Oh, well, that's the...
Well, number 1
That
is
doesn't
called SwearNet the movie.
Okay.
Then number 3 is Wolf of Wall Street.
Really?
Oh.
Wolf of Wall Street has
I've
a
heard
lot.
it has a lot.
I literally just saw an infographic the other day that was like F words by movie, and it just must have been old.
It's got it per minute.
8.5 per minute.
For SwearNet.
Oh, for
Oh,
swearing.
SwearNet.
Well, look at the documentary, dude. 9.
This is a farce.
9 per minute.
And then it goes down to 3.
I don't
Yeah,
think
it drops
I don't
down
think
to
a
3 a minute.
documentary about the word itself should count.
That doesn't count. It's not a narrative. Nobody wrote that.
Goodfellas is number 17.
Thank you very
Where's
much.
Scarface
Oh, wow.
on there?
I'm trying to find it.
It's not an order of. F's per minute.
It's like most total. I don't know. There's some kind of.
Okay.
I'm sure there's an algorithm. Yeah. See. Oh, there's the actual count right there.
Oh, okay.
How many times does it say? It says it in Wolf of Wall Street.
569.
Dang.
It is a long
That's
movie,
a lot.
Yeah, as I'd say, it is kind of a longer movie. We watched it
3
while we were at
hours
the bachelor
long,
party.
exactly. Freaking number 1, whatever SwearNet the movie is, 935 times.
Why don't you go for the full 1,000?
935 times in less than 2 hours.
Nice.
That is a feat.
Thanks, Jamie. Anyway.
Huh.
A
Wow.
feat. You can cut all that out.
So,
This is
there's only
stupid.
207 in Scarface.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, but, I mean,
you just got
Scarface came
discredited
out.
on the podcast.
But like,
For
well,
its time,
yeah,
that
I was about to
was,
say
like,
when it came
shocking.
out though.
Yeah.
we had when I
That's
was in
probably the first time
when I
that
was
it
in
ever...
we had.
There was this one time we stayed up way past midnight.
when I was in 6th grade, we had to do a presentation in music class on like someone that was like, I don't know what the word is. They had to be like a famous kind of like actor. I guess it wasn't music class. It was like performing arts, whatever you call it. I mean, whatever you want to call that. It was like movie culture, like just pop culture. I don't know what you want to call it. I don't know. Anyway, we had to do a report on like an actor that was like, well credited and respected kind of thing. Okay. So what?
It's just like, what is this about? You don't know what this is about.
I don't know what the class is about. I don't know what you call the class. That's what it was. So anyway, you had to do a presentation on like a really well-respected actor, and he had to prove who the actor was. So one guy did Al Pacino. And so we had to play 2 scenes of our choice from any of their movies that would demonstrate why they were, so revered. And this guy plays the scene from Scarface. Where like they're breaking into the mansion and he's got like coke on his face or whatever. And then like 10 seconds into it, the guy stops it and he's like, why would you think that's okay? He's like, why would you think that's okay? And so apparently the story is the guy came in and like if you had any like concerns about your scene you were going to show, you had to come in and get it pre-approved. Well, the dude came in to get it pre-approved and the dude like was on his phone the whole time, the teacher was, and didn't hear any of it. He was like, yeah, it's good. So
His fault.
he was like,
His
you
fault.
approved it. And he's like, why would you think he called it? He said a 4-letter word beginning with F. He's like, why would you think a 4-letter word beginning with F would be okay to play in this classroom? He's like, you said it was okay. You approved it. Yeah, rip.
I got word today at work that we send our videos off to a company that does closed captioning, and then they send us a file that we drop in, and it's like all timed out for you, and you can like change everything, but it keeps its size and it keeps it timed out and everything. And it's like $1.25 per minute. So like we have to have a budget now for like certain videos, which is really unusual for us. But I was like, why don't they just use like the auto closed captioning? Because a couple videos, it just puts cuss words. It just thinks that you're dropping cuss words. And it's the same for everybody. So if somebody doesn't enunciate just right, there's, Sam Hannon from Fellowship dropping an F-bomb. If you're deaf,
Like,
if you,
oh.
And there's a ton of deaf people that go to our church now. So they're just watching their video and they're like,
He said, what?
we this church. And they're
And
like,
then Jesus.
Oh, man. That's rough coming from a drummer of a Christian band.
pull that
I was
back a
doing the
couple
play
times.
on Jesus wept like the shortest
Oh,
verse.
come on! You're making it so much worse. You're just burying yourself deeper. Good lord.
What am I afraid to be buried?
I don't know. Let's take that up with the Lord.
Take that up with your fans.
No, I asked him. He said it was choice.
You're gonna get canceled. It's just when.
Cancel culture.
It's
You're
just
out.
when.
At this rate,
more famous.
at this rate, every guy who's gonna get famous from now on is gonna be canceled at some point. It's
Yeah.
just a matter of time.
Oh, dude, could you imagine if one of us got big? You know, this podcast would get found, and we would have issues. big issues.
Yeah, one of the psychos that all of us dated
I
was
wouldn't.
like, excuse me.
I edit out all the stuff I
They'd
regret
be like,
saying.
he raped me. Like, we would get rape accusations like no one's business.
I would.
Yeah, everybody I ever dated, they'd be like, he was the worst person to date. I'd be like, yeah,
Thanks.
that's
So
you
were
know what? That adds up.
Have you heard the
So were you.
Have you heard the Bill Burr bit where he's talking? He's like, he's talking about like getting like a rape accusation upon you, and he's like, you know, he's like, no doesn't mean no. He's like, no means no, but he's like, no, stop. He's like, that doesn't mean no.
Yeah,
he's
I
like,
have seen
okay,
that.
they could be in there going, no, stop, that's bad. And then in the courtroom, the lawyer's gonna read, she said no, stop, that's bad.
Yeah,
and I'm just gonna be sitting there going, well, she didn't say it like that.
Except it's Bill Burr yelling. So
Yeah,
it's funny.
That's the thing. If I ever did like comedy or something, I would have to do like edgy, offensive comedy. Like that's just because like
you're not funny.
If you don't, you're gonna have to like really like tread lightly and like watch what you say. But if you're like Bill Burr,
Yeah, it's
you
like
just say
one or the
whatever crap
other.
You want. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You're like Christian comedy or you're really offensive.
You're either Jim Gaffigan or Tom Segura. Talking about how many people your grandma banged.
Bert Kreischer.
Making people throw up in the audience.
Yeah, that's
He
kind
said
of
the N word. Oh my God.
teacher says you can say it if you are one. No, that's not. Whoa, no, I do think that is the rule.
That is the rule. Yeah.
Bert Kreischer, dude. Oh man.
That bit's funny.
Yeah, he's got a new one coming out soon.
It's a TV show.
Yeah, he's
it's a
got-
TV show
Oh,
with a bunch
okay.
of other comedians. It's like it's set up like a scripted show, but then I think they just do these weird activities together, and that part's not scripted.
Oh, good.
It sounds kind of entertaining.
Sounds like
Yeah.
WWE.
Yeah, kind of.
More or less. A little bit of ad lib in there.
Hey, if you watch wrestling, you're a dummy.
Have you seen? Did you know that like there was the WWE, they do a lot of stuff. I didn't even hear what you said.
That's good.
They do a bunch of stuff on the fly. So I can't remember what led to this. Like something happened that they like ad libbed real quick. They had Vince McMahon come in, you know, the owner of the WWE, the boss. He came in and he's like, "Oh my God!" Like spur of the moment, they did this last second. He runs in there, and then he jumps into the freaking ring, I guess. And then when he jumps in the ring, he like shatters both his knees.
Oh, I've seen that.
Yeah, and so he's like trying to get up, and he like can't. So he's
he
just like sitting there.
bounced off the edge and blew out like both of his thigh muscles.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Like,
yeah,
but like medically dead-legged himself.
yeah. And so like he wasn't like writhing in pain or anything, but like he couldn't get up, so he's just sitting there like doing his bit from the ground.
Well, there's another thing where The Rock was fighting, I think it was John Cena, and they had like an hour-long fight or whatever that was supposed to go on for this big title belt thing or whatever. And, you know, the whole thing's relatively scripted. They know what's supposed to happen. And The Rock, like 10 minutes into it, like, really hurt himself really bad. And he made it through it, but immediately had to, like, fly down to, like, Florida to his doctor and, like, immediately go into surgery.
Oh, wow.
Or something, because he had hurt himself.
Oh, I said it's a great idea. Kind of from South Park, but we should do it. We should host like wrestling matches in your backyard.
Oh,
Triceratops!
the Da Vinci guys, they're amateur wrestlers.
I saw,
That
dude.
checks out.
That explains everything.
That explains everything.
You like, yeah, it's like, yeah. I remember. I scrolled through it. I didn't watch any of them, but there was a bunch of them like in wrestling. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen those guys? I've only seen their videos on like Twitter, and they do like like WWE matches, but it's like just them being funny. Like, so like they'll have their friends over, or whatever, like that. But then like out of nowhere, like they'll start fighting, and they do like the flip over, and one guy like drove his car up, and then he had the other guy on like one of those like plastic like folding tables, had him on there, and just like.
I know what you're talking about. I know.
So, and it's like they look so like convincing. Like it's not like they're trying to like where like WWE tries to make it look real. It's like they're trying to look like WWE, and it makes it so much funnier.
Yeah, that's funny. I saw there was one bit I saw on Instagram. I guess like the WWE or whatever would make these like promotional things where they like film it separately and then they would like release it or whatever. And there's one, you know, you've probably seen this, like one of these. So the one where like Vince McMahon's like doing an interview and like, sir, he's outside. And then he tells his wife, like, you wait here. Where is he? And he starts like running out the hall. Have you seen that? You probably would.
Probably.
But the one that's the funniest to me is that like, I guess he got hurt doing something, you know, he got fake hurt. And he has like a cast on his leg and he's like in the hospital. And then like, whoever his arch nemesis is like in scrubs and like has like a mask on, and then like he takes it off and it's like him, and he jumps on him while he's in the hospital bed and is like hitting his face and stuff.
Dude, WWE is so weird.
We should do it. We should do it. Honest to God, I would do it.
And it's like I never watched it really as a kid or anything like that, but like when I was a little kid, I did think like WWE. I was like, oh dude, that guy got hurt really bad.
Yeah, like what convinced me that it was not real. I mean, it took a second, but. I didn't watch it a lot, but whenever I go visit my like aunt and uncle in Louisiana, like he loved to watch it, and I was convinced it was real. I was like, he's got blood on him. No way, it's not real. But then like the Undertaker like came back from the dead. I was like,
you were like, wait a minute.
I was like, isn't there black magic up there? I was like, what's going on?
Why is my grandma dead though?
Have you seen that gif of the Undertaker when he comes out of the coffin?
Yeah.
Have you seen that? There was one person that on whenever COVID kind of first started, like in Norway, on their tracker, their death said -1, and then they're like someone in Norway, and they played that gif of him coming out from the grave.
COVID healed him.
Oh man.
Oh,
it was a high of 73 today.
Huh?
A high of 73 today.
Great. Cool. It is hot in Topeka.
So
Hot in Topeka.
me and Chad are in the middle of making probably the most redneck thing that I have been involved in
It's
making.
pretty redneck.
Is it what's out
Pretty
there?
redneck,
Mhm.
yeah.
What is it?
It's going to be a smoker for meat. Like
Those
smoking
poles?
meat. No,
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
Immediately I was like, wait.
No.
For context, there's 12-foot poles outside, out back, and that's what Evan thought the smoker was.
Yeah.
What?
We're gonna.
You know, I didn't
we're
think it
gonna
was
balance-
a smoker.
No, those are light poles that we made to
Okay,
hang lights
okay.
out there. But the filing cabinet.
I didn't see.
You didn't see the filing cabinet. You didn't see the
Please
big
explain-
filing cabinet.
Explain.
We're turning a filing cabinet into a smoker.
How?
You put
So,
the
Just hollow it out.
stuff in the and then the
Hollow
meat.
it out.
In each drawer.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
the top 3 drawers are gonna
bootleg
racks so we
smoker.
can
Okay.
smoke
Concerned about whatever chemical that's coated with, but
It's it's
Just do a test burn
good
and
for
burn
you.
it all
Doesn't
out.
get that hot.
No, I'm gonna season it, and it's only gonna be like.
no, I'm gonna season it. It's all good.
No. You
Salt and
season
pepper.
it by burning it really hot.
I would hope you would season your meat.
Assholes.
So not funny. Just objectively not funny.
Why is that light on?
This is the worst podcast.
This is like
This
our,
is the worst podcast. That's it. We're canceled.
Are you
We're
happy
canceled.
now?
We lost your sponsorships.
there goes our lighting down the
You
drain.
want to hand me a banquet out of there, please?
Hey, whoa.
When we cut.
I hate you.
What time are we at?
I actually don't know because I started it like an
18, coming up on
hour.
19.
All right, we got too much time left to cut. I wrote a bunch of things down to share this week. I don't know if I can share them.
Yeah,
all.
we're starting off pretty weak.
Did you guys think of that? That was a good bit until you made it weird.
Me?
Yeah, and then you were like, anyway. And then Chad started talking about the weather.
So on the record,
awkwardly silent.
on the record, he was the one who turned it bad, though.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what it looks like in the cut. Did you think of scary stories? It's Halloween.
No, I didn't know we were supposed to.
We literally talked about it last time.
I'm gonna.
I mean,
take
I
a
told one.
binge drinking. That's it. That's it. I'm gonna take up binge drinking.
Like me.
Yeah. Yeah. I have one, but it's too long to tell before we cut. So
You said you had multiple things to talk about.
I have a lot of
So
things.
let's go ahead and cut, and then I can rearrange this, and then.
Okay, and check
Yeah.
again, and then I can just delete that. Just delete.
But on that note, did y'all see Silent Planet dropped a new shirt today?
Slant plant.
So some guy said that they should take out their beliefs and ideas and stuff out of their music, and when Garrett Russell was just like no, like tweeted back like no or something like that, the dude burned one of their Silent Planet shirts, and everybody was just like, you just paid for a shirt and you're not even wearing it now, you just burned
Yeah.
it. And then they took the image, because that dude posted a video, they took an image of it burning and put that on the shirt.
That's pretty
I'm gonna look
Nice.
it up.
fire.
Now they're gonna make money off that dude
Yep.
burning a shirt.
I'm gonna look that up. All right, you got a story? Tell us.
I do. It's an Office Depot story. I gotta read my notes
Ooh, oh, huh?
to refresh.
Water.
Is there one in there?
Yeah, no, because you only think about yourself. Yes, there's water in there.
Finally, water.
Finally,
Keep that going.
Goose go.
Goose Ghost boys.
The boys in the kill Cusco.
The boys of the Cusco. This is my right. This is my scary story contribution. So this is an Office Depot
Oh, of course.
customer story, but
Everything
this
is scary about those. Yes.
This is a scary story. Genuinely, the most terrifying man I've ever met in my life. So I don't remember when our relationship started, and this is gonna sound like, again, like all of my stories, this is gonna sound like complete BS. But I promise it's not. And there's more to this one that I never wrote down and I forgot. But if I made up crazy stuff, it wouldn't be as crazy as what actually happened with this guy. I just couldn't have made this up if I wanted to. So this guy comes in and he has major, like, crackhead vibes.
nice.
But he's dressed to the nines, but like all of it's from Goodwill and none of it matches. And so I'm like, this guy is going to be like telling me he has a law degree. He's going to tell me I'm just no. And so he gives me this flash drive. He's like, hey man, I've got a bunch of stuff on there and I just need you to like plug that in and like, can I take a look at it on the computer and like pull up the stuff I need you to print? And there wasn't a line. We weren't supposed to let him do that, but this was pre-COVID and it wasn't a weird thing for people to like touch your stuff. And so I was like, yeah, just pull it up. Tell me what you need. So he's pulling the stuff up and he's got like this guy comes up behind him. And I mean, it's like, just imagine a crackhead. Just imagine a crackhead.
Okay.
I
No
mean,
problem.
He's like skinny. He's like looking at stuff. He's like picking up greeting cards and he's like,
Wait, real quick. Is the guy behind the counter also a crackhead?
they both look like crackheads.
Okay.
But one of them is in
One of
like
them dressed
like
nice,
Yeah.
yeah.
One of them's dressed nice. The other is like in rehab clothes. I mean, he's like,
You got the
Okay.
shakes.
and I'm like, they're together. I don't know why I knew. I just knew they were together, and they were together. So they
your-
came
that's
in
your
together almost every time. Come to find out, he calls this guy his brother. But knowing this guy, I don't know if that's what that means. I don't know if he's actually his brother or like his brother. So I don't remember how these details were revealed to me. I found out he was in the military. He had PTSD. There's a center in South Arkansas for people who were ex-vets who had some sort of trauma. They can stay there. It's kind of like a rehab facility, but it's like, get a job and then we'll help you find another place to live and then you can get out of here. Well, come to find out, genuinely horrible place. Shocking, I know. A government facility would be a dump. Not only that, but it was like there was water just actively running down the walls of the bedrooms, which is a cool
Did he show
thing.
you pictures of this?
We're getting there. And then he's like, a bunch of the girls I knew from there, like the people that worked there, they raped them. And I was like, I work at Office Depot. Like, I don't need to know
This information.
I don't need to know the inner workings of everything. And this doesn't mean anything, but I would like to add to it. This dude smelled bizarre. And you could smell him coming. I don't know what it smelled like. It smelled like mildew, kind of, but something else. And the next thing I'm going to tell you makes that disgusting. Just the thought of these two things.
Okay.
So he tells me all that information, probably throughout 2 or 3 times of coming in, about once a week. And he calls me my man.
This is regular.
He's a regular.
Okay.
More regular than Lil Speedy.
Oh, wow.
Were you going to say something, Charlie?
No.
Okay. So throughout his visits, more of this information is revealed to me. He has an online campaign of trying to get money from the government to pay him back for the things that he suffered and to help litigate against the people that raped the girls he knew. It's like all of this sounds great, and I just still think he's kind of like a PTSD crackhead guy. You know? And so every time he comes, he's printing out Facebook posts that he's posted. Little weird, not gonna judge. One time he comes and he prints out like 50 copies of the governor of Arkansas retweeting his tweet. And he's taking that as confirmation that the governor of Arkansas is going to help him in his lawsuit against the state.
Okay.
And he tells me that explicitly. He's like, he's going to help us fight this man. This is confirmation, and I'm printing it out so he can't backpedal, man. He's going to be there in the courtroom fighting this with me. Again, like, this is just a crackhead in Goodwill clothes. Again, to me. And so one day he eventually comes in. He's like, I finally got somebody to listen to me, man, about all this. And they want me to print off some proof of like the physical damage I suffered living there. I'm like, that's great, man. And so he gives me the flash drive, and I'm like, what do you need me to print? And he's like, just print those top 3. And as I'm double clicking to open them, to print them, he's like, oh, I gotta warn you, it's kind of like gruesome. And I open it, and it's a picture of his staph-infected groin.
Ooh.
Complete with testicles.
Complete.
His staph infection.
I gotta warn you, man.
As I'm opening
It's
it.
a little rough.
And think about the smell now.
Oh, no.
I'm smelling that, and I'm like, this guy has a staph infection on his ding-dong. That's what I'm thinking about. So I'm like, dude, I need a little bit more warning next time. And he's like, sorry, it's just for the lawyers. And he's got his little folder. I print the stuff out because I just want him to leave.
So,
right?
so whenever you opened
it,
it, did your heart like skip a beat?
I'll tell you, this is more than you want to know, but the staph infection was so bad, I didn't know what I was looking at.
Oh, wow. I feel like Office Depot had probably just hardened you so much that you just clicked it and you're like,
yeah,
and just like closed it.
That wasn't the first time somebody had handed me a flash drive and I opened nude pictures. I mean, that wasn't the first time, and it wasn't the last time. I'll just tell you right now.
You're just like, what is this?
Yeah. As I opened it, he told me. That's the only reason to this day I know what it was.
Ew.
And so I promise this is going somewhere creepy. I promise.
Oh, it's more? There's more? Okay.
So I gave him his freaking pics. There was the next time he comes in, I was working the counter, and I see him come in, and I took a break. And I was like, I just can't do it. He's too crazy. And he's got just creepy energy. I didn't want anything to do with him. And so I was like, hey, Zach, I'm taking a break. Can you work print counter? And he was like, yeah, sure. I'm like, that dude has no idea what he's in for. And so I take a break. I took the full 30-minute break. And then I'm like watching out the window from upstairs to see when he leaves. And I'm like, okay. And so he comes in again. And he's like, man, I'm just getting a lot of support online. I'm like,
same day?
No, a different day.
Okay.
I could have been months later. I'm not sure. I'm getting a lot of support online, man. It's just a lot of people backing me, backing my cause. They believe my story. It just feels really good, man. I'm like, that's great. Who are you talking to out there? Who's giving you support? He's like, oh, I'm just like talking to a lot of people on World of Warcraft.
And that's the creepy part. Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun. World of Warcraft. No. So that's the last time I ever saw him, until I hadn't seen him for like 2 months probably.
Last week.
I still lived in Little Rock. Me and my now fiance Grace, went to Whole Foods one night to get salad to go to eat. And so we go in the Whole Foods, and the Whole Foods is next to a Best Buy, and there's a street, and then that goes in front of the Whole Foods, and then there's a wooded area between the Whole Foods and the next place. Like, you can see through it at the next place, but it's like there's trees. So we're leaving the Whole Foods, we go to the exit, and we're going to turn right down the street, and he comes out of the trees and crosses in front of my car and down the street. He comes out of the woods and crosses my car in front of me at the Whole Foods and continues down the street. That was the last time I ever saw him.
Is he homeless?
You tell me, man.
I mean, where did he get a flash drive? And
Where's he playing World of Warcraft?
In the woods. He's got a whole setup in there.
I saw him walk out of the woods in his suit and cross in front of my car.
Important question.
And I saw him cross, and I was like, if he looks left, I'm just gonna have to hit him. I was like, and I'm also thinking, why me? Like, why did it have to be me?
What are the odds? Absolutely.
What are the odds?
So, was he wearing the same suit every time?
No, different stuff every time. He'd wear like a long coat sometimes. He never looked bad, but it was like he would wear all different shades of like navy. You know? Mm-hmm. So it was like he knows what navy is, but not that none of the clothes he's wearing match.
So I've got a smaller story. This is very recent. So, something Cody and I used to do when we were in high school, like, we used to love driving around to, like, all the, like, especially the local, like, car lots and just see what they have. We're, like, car guys. We used to love just looking at cars out there. And so, we actually did that, like, last week. We were kind of bored and we're like, hey, we'll go around to a couple different ones. And normally we'd go, like, later in the night, like, 9, 8, 10. Just, no salesmen, no people walking around. We don't have to worry about anything. And so, we drive up to a buddy of mine's dad's car lot over off 71. It's probably about 11 o'clock by now. We've been doing it a while. So we pull in there for a second. And as we're pulling in, there's a guy. He's a white dude, older, had a bunch of gray hair that was, like crackhead vibes for sure. Mm-hmm. Wearing a long-ass leather trench coat. And he definitely had a bulletproof vest on. And as we're walking in, he's kind of walking slow, like looking at us as we're pulling in. And Cody's like, yo, that guy's got a bulletproof vest. I was like, what? And he's like, that dude has a bulletproof vest on. And I'm sitting here like, and so my first thought is, I'm like, all right, we have to look completely natural. Like, if we look like we're like looking at him weird.
We're all in the car?
Yeah, we're in my car. So we're pulling in, and I kind of go. And so we pull in, and he's walking, and as he's walking, like, we kind of pass by him, and he's walking, and he definitely kind of
stared at you.
And then kind of kept walking, and then he walks down the road, and this is on 71.
Oh, I was going to say maybe he was like security detail.
Nope.
That's weird.
Not a bit.
That's weird.
Dude, and then he just starts walking down the road, and it's 11. It's dark out now.
Yeah.
Homeboy's just walking down in a black leather trench coat with a bulletproof vest on.
Look, maybe it's because he's out so late. He feels he needs to be protected.
He needs to be safer. So he starts walking down, and so we get out and we look at a couple of cars or whatever like that, because his dad's always got some pretty good cars out there. And so as we're leaving, I'm like, I wonder where Homeboy's at. And we didn't see him again for a minute, like even down the road. So I turned down there and we look, and he's walking in front, kind of like walking around in front of the big United Bank area, like just kind of walking around out there a little bit. And so we drive by, and then we turn around, and then there's like a little neighborhood there, and he just makes a right and just walks into that neighborhood.
Nice.
Just going out for a walk.
Here's
super casual.
If you got it, flaunt it, man. The bulletproof vest.
Those ain't cheap.
If you got it, use it.
So the other day, believe it or not, I got flipped off for the first time while driving that I know of. Mm-hmm. You know, it could have definitely happened, but that's the first time I saw it. And it was for the dude, I assume it was a dude, could not have been, was in the wrong. So, like, I'm coming down MLK, and it's like 50 or 55 on some parts of MLK, uh-huh. And there's a light over by the liquor store over there. Mm-hmm. There's a light. So I'm in the second lane, and this guy in a blue minivan pulls out, and it's like, so here's the lane divider. It's like, this is the lane, not divider, the lines. Mm-hmm. And, like, he gets out, like, if this is his car, he gets out like this. and then gets over. Okay. Granted, if I would not have hit my brakes, I would have hit this guy going 55. Okay. So I don't know why. It made me like mad. You know, probably a little more than it should. So I hit the brakes and I honk on my horn for, no joke, like 10 seconds solid. And I lay on it still as I'm driving by him with his window down.
Yeah.
And then he sticks his finger out at me. And then I was like, nice. And then later on, I was starting to get a little worried because I started getting close to Prairie Grove, where I live. And this dude, he was behind me. He got in front of me, okay. And then a kind of beat up Honda Accord, you can picture in your head, also gets in front of me, okay. And then we're at this light right before the last light in Farmington. You're about to go into Prairie Grove, and it's just pretty much all just road. And we stop, the light turns green, car in front of me doesn't go, rolls down the window, pops out their head, and looks back at me. And I was like, I honked.
Yes.
I don't think they were related. I kind of thought they were, though, but I don't think they were. But they were both driving like idiots, and I thought like I was going to have to call Ash and be like, hey, get the gun out. Like, get the gun and my baseball bat.
I was at Taco Bell in May sometime with Grace in the car. And down here not down here, we're in Fayetteville, at Pleasant, by the mall. And so there's like, you pull into a parking lot that's not the Taco Bell parking lot, and then you pull into another parking lot. That little area, it's exactly wide enough for 2 cars, and definitely not a lifted truck and another car to pass each other. So this guy in this lifted truck with the freaking monster truck wheels, he's just parked in the entrance to the Taco Bell, and he's on his phone, just looking down, facing me as I'm trying to go into the Taco Bell. So I'm just like, this is what your horn is for. So I just go, huh? Like, that's it. And my car has a wimpy horn. It's a Corolla. So I just go, huh? And he looks up and he just puts it goes around me. And then we go in and get into the drive-thru. And then he turns around and pulls up next to me in the drive-thru and rolls his window down. And Grace is like, he's next to us in the drive-thru. And I look over and he's like, bald. He's got the sport sunglasses, like the wraparound.
I was about to say, does he have like Oakley's on or something?
Yeah, like and he's got like even in real life, he's got the Trump banner like that for the Facebook picture. In real life, though, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm following.
Like it follows him around. And he's like, and I'm like, he goes, like, roll your window down, and I'm just like, I literally just twinkle my fingers at him, and he just goes, and then drives away.
Like, what do they want to say to you?
Well,
How dare you?
What you don't know is he was like, but he's really about to go, dude, I'm really sorry, man. I didn't mean...
He's like,
Yeah, that was.
I'm so sorry, bro.
Probably not.
And then
Probably
he's like,
not.
twinkle fingers.
Yeah.
Fluffy fingers.
Dude, yeah, there's nothing worse than I hate people who can't drive, dude.
Two cars here, you guaranteed can't drive. Lifted trucks, BMW drivers. That's it. That's it.
Especially
Guaranteed.
if the BMW is like white. For some reason, those ones are the worst.
Yes. No, exactly.
I'm on point, dude.
And
I know
if
what's going on.
you go to Little Rock, Chargers.
Dude, so...
Replace every lifted pickup here with a Charger. That's what it's like in Little Rock.
This couple comes into Sam's. Believe it or not, we have regulars sometimes. Like, they come in probably like once a month, once every other month.
Gotta see what's new.
And I guess so. They drive a red Range Rover. Okay. And I think he's like a plastic surgeon. And he's got his wife, and they get out. And then, like, they were leaving, like, the most recent time I helped them. They're leaving, and then she's like, I'll drive home, or something like that. They're talking about that. So she ended up driving home. And so they get in the car, and she backs out. And you might remember the entrance to Sam's. There's, like, an entrance, and people always drive past it because they think there's, like, another entrance. You know what I'm talking about? So it's like a false thing. Like, there's definitely... it's weird. There's only one way in. And people think when they leave, there's somehow another way out besides the only way they came in. So anyway, she's gunning it down the parking lot to this phantom entrance. And then last second, slams on the brakes before she passes the entrance, turns, hops the curb, and like drives off. And I'm like, he's like not ever letting her drive ever again. I mean, she probably sped up to 50 miles an hour in the parking lot.
Just
dude.
ramped it.
Yeah, and then she like started to slow down, she's like, and then like turned and just.
Charlie, you have any?
You got it.
You were gonna say something last week, and he said to save it till this week.
Boy Scouts. Talk about cars. I bet you got plenty.
Well, yeah.
Driving for work.
I was gonna tell one.
We got to make space for Charlie. He's a sensitive man.
He's a homeschooled man.
Everybody's space to talk.
Last week, he's like, "There's nothing." That's the whole talk of the. I'm like, house. Never mind.
Yeah, I follow. I get what you're saying now. I didn't at first, but I do now.
Okay.
Yeah, because we were talking about school stories, and he's like, "Is there anything
Would you
of the whole
shut
school?"
up
The house.
and let Charlie talk?
Dude, if you snap at me like that again, like how I snap at Evan, we're gonna have an issue.
So loud in your mic. All right, go on, Charlie.
Don't laugh. It's not funny.
All right, so
Don't clap.
most recent, almost like road rage confrontation I got into was you guys know up in Bentonville, you got like Rainbow Curve, where Airport Regional Boulevard come to Walton.
Yep.
All right, so I was turning right onto Walton, and it's kind of like a merge lane, right? Well, this truck comes up behind me, cuts off the car behind me, and to turn right behind me, and instead of turning into the right lane, he cuts it wide and turns into the left lane. Well, I already saw that he was being a jackass, so I went ahead and put my blinker on, and I cut him off. and then he swerves to the right and passes me, and he flips me off as he's passing, and then he gets back in front of me and slams on his brakes.
Nice.
And then he takes off, and then he has to slam on his brakes at the red light.
Yeah.
And I'm getting into the left turn lane, and I had a little bit of a gap, so I stopped right next to him, and I just laid on my horn and stared at him, and then I took off. He cuts over into the turn lane right behind me,
Nice.
and like I turned left, and I was just meeting my dad at a car lot to look at a new work truck, and he pulls in to the other. Well, he passes me because he didn't see where I turned, and then he saw me and turned in, and I was already out of my vehicle, and he was staring at me. I was like, "Come on, let's go!" and he pulls in again. And then he saw that I was with somebody else, and he turned around.
I mean,
and
yeah,
took
people
off.
do
I was
that. Like, what are they gonna do, dude?
Yeah, I was like,
either they're doing nothing
"Come
or
on."
they're gonna kill you.
And I was ready
Exactly.
to fight that day for some reason too.
I just have a feeling like you pull up like next to him, and you're just like,
Yep. It's
the horn going.
Yeah.
like,
I thought you were gonna tell your Taco Bell story when you went to go get Taco Bell the other day.
I can do that too.
Yeah, that was good. That was good.
you're gonna say what you said to me also
What?
later that night. After,
Just
so
ruined it.
y'all
Just
were
ruined it.
in line, and
Yeah.
you paid for the lady behind,
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Just tell it.
Okay,
Let him tell it.
So after the podcast, we have friends over, and we went and test drove a new car because we were looking at a new car, and we decided to go to Taco Bell. Pulled into the drive-thru, and we gave our order at the speaker thing, and we pulled up as far as we could behind the car in front of us. And it wasn't enough for the person behind us to get up to the speaker. And she tries to order.
Which is a normal thing.
It is a normal thing. You wait 5 seconds and you can pull forward. And my wife was driving at the time. And we had all our windows down. And the guy inside told the lady behind us that he couldn't hear her. And she's like, "Well, I'd pull up if this bitch would pull up and give me room." And I turned around. We had all the windows down. I turned around and I called her a bitch back, and we started yelling back and forth. And I was ready to fight a female. I was gonna let her throw the first
I swear,
punch.
dude,
but-
Yeah, of course.
of course.
Nothing like that ever happens to me. Like, I wish to God something that would happen to me.
I've
I know.
one story like that.
So
Not even in the car though.
to finish
Go on.
this though, we pulled forward, and my wife decides to pay for her food, and which I thought that was a nice gesture. I'm like, and then we're gonna take the food, right?
I mean, you paid for it, dude.
Yeah, we paid for it. It's our food now.
Keep burning coals on their head.
Right?
Yeah.
And then I at least wanted to pull forward to see her reaction when she finds out that we paid for it, and then just flip her off as we're driving away, but she wouldn't even let me do that.
That was an icing on the cake.
But
Did I say it when I got back?
well, to anybody who had a problem with Charles saying he was ready to fight a woman, all I have to say is equality.
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 Equal rights.
Equal rights, equal fights.
Equal lefts.
Equal
Oh.
fights.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Equal rights, equal fights.
That's where I thought that was going. But
That was better. That was actually way better.
I've heard both.
well, see, I don't think I've ever had a scenario where like somebody was probably ready to fight me. Generally, because if I'm in like for like a road rage thing, like the only time, well, because I think as far as I'm a very courteous driver. I feel like somebody wants to get over, come on,
You're
let's
a
go.
good driver.
Like, but I get really mad at other people really quick when
Yeah.
they're
For
just
sure,
actually
dude.
awful.
For sure. No. Real quick, I'm gonna insert here. He gets mad at them when they're mildly inconveniencing him. We drove to Missouri, dude. Every time someone was just like, little thing, dude, he was like, "Oh my god!" Yell.
Look,
He drove our tour bus through downtown Chicago at 2 o'clock in the morning.
He told me that.
something like that. Yeah.
When it like stupid traffic.
Oh, it was insanely busy, and we were in an area where it didn't. I definitely remember it was not telling us that this lane was ending for construction and that it was going to one lane in this tunnel under a bridge. There was no sign saying that it was going to one lane. So finally, like, there was like a semi in front of us, and they got over, and next thing I know, I'm at cones, and I have nowhere to go. And so
I'm at cones.
well, and so
The cones.
and so I'm trying to
freaking
get
cones!
over. I'm trying to get over, and not a single person is letting it happen. And finally, I saw a
Dave.
small gap, and I just took our huge. How long is our bus with the trailer? Like 45 feet or
Yeah,
so.
45 feet.
And so I just taken like I saw the smallest gap, and I went and got in there, and that dude like kind of honked at me. I was like, I don't care. Like, and I got on the interstate, and then I was a little more happy when I saw a couple of Bentleys driving on the interstate.
That's the thing, dude. Like,
Meanwhile, I'm sleeping in my bunk in
Yeah.
the back.
Yeah, it was
And,
just
like-
me and Adam up front, and Adam was like, no, we're good.
yeah, dude. In those cities, bro, like. First
Survival
of all,
of the
like
fittest.
they don't help you, and second of all, they don't even care if you like cut them off.
They don't care if you spend all night there and starve to death.
Well, it's like you cut
They
them
don't care.
off, whatever, and like here, someone would have been ready to fight you, but like there, they're just like beep, like not another one. So
Yeah.
here's the thing, I wrote this down so I wouldn't forget, and you need to tell it because you tell stories better than I do.
Nerd writing things. Imagine.
Idiot. What is it?
Serial killer.
Oh gosh.
Does Charlie know this?
I'm sure. I feel like we've told the story before, but
this from
before
high
video.
No, we've not told it on the podcast.
So okay. Well, we'll tell it here.
Is this from high school?
Yeah.
Serial
so-
killer, manhunt.
So we used to.
Oh, the guy that yelled at all of us?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay.
So this is a 2-part story.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird. So first, we used to go and play this game of Manhunt with like 30 people throughout the entire neighborhood of
Hide and
Harbor
go seek
Meadows.
tag. That's all
Yeah,
it is.
that's what it is. So before we started, though, a couple people had to go to the restroom, so we're like, okay, I'll drive. I have to go too, so I'll drive us.
It's just me and you.
Well, yeah, I feel
Just
like there
you
were
and I
other
had to
pe-
go.
Maybe it was just you and me. Okay, so
Yeah.
you and I had to go. So we leave for a second before it starts, and we're going to go somewhere we can go to the restroom. And granted, I will give him that. I did speed up relatively quick, but I did not go over the speed limit.
In a Ford Flex.
I did not go over the speed limit. And so I speed up relatively quick. I'm in high school, whatever. But I did go the speed limit, and the next thing I know, there's this guy standing in the road, and he's holding a thing, which at the moment we didn't know what it was. But he's holding
gets
this
in the road. Gun! No. Not that kind of thing.
He was holding a thing. It was one of those things, like, at the moment, we didn't know what it was, but later we were like, was that a plunger?
We literally thought it was a plunger or a toilet brush.
Because that's what it looked like.
He saw you. He was
And
on the
it's like-
toilet. He's like, those kids.
The thing, no. The thing is, like, the way he was holding it, dude, I vividly remember this. He was holding it on his shoulder like it's like a rifle or something. Like, he was holding it there like this. And, like, he gets in the street and gets in front of Chad.
This is still in Harbor Meadows?
Yeah, and
Yes.
so I remember
It was
him.
on the Circle, right?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Founders Park, yeah.
Okay.
And so I remember, I feel like I remember him like pointing at me when I was like, he came up to my window.
Yeah.
But, so he's like in the middle of the road. I'm like, that's weird. And so I slow down. He just comes up and he gets like inserts himself into my car window because I had him down. And he said something on the lines of, he's like, you better fucking slow down, like pointing at me with this thing. And I was
really
like,
aggressive, though. He
yeah,
was
and
aggressive.
I was like, I'm a kid. And I'm just like,
I was like, I'm a kid.
well, yeah, I'm like,
Don't hurt me, I'm Chad.
I literally was just like, okay. Like,
Yeah, we were both like, all right.
it was another one of those moments in my life where I was like, is anybody else seeing this right now?
Yeah.
Like, is this just me? And so that was our first encounter. I was like, okay. And so and then he kind of backed up, and I just left, and we were like, that was really strange.
I should mention that the thing he was holding.
Yeah, it was one of those things you put a tennis ball in to throw for your dog. That's what it was. But in the moment, like we couldn't really tell what it was.
We drove by. Oh, we were like, dark? Was he holding a plunger?
It was a little before it got dark.
Okay. Yeah, this was before.
It was like dusk, like it was starting to get there.
Well, and that's not something you see and you're like, I know what that is.
Yeah, yeah. I've never owned one of those things. Yeah. Anyway, so we go to the restroom, we come back, the game starts. It's towards the end of the night. The game's like almost over, and there's one kid walking around out there.
Now it is dark.
Yeah, now it is dark. And he's in the middle of the circle, and he comes out and he starts yelling at that guy, at that kid who was with us.
Poor dude, Jeremy. Yeah.
Yeah, and.
Was it Jeremy?
Yeah.
And so the least deserving.
So next thing you know, we're all kind of walking up, and now there's like 20 people around this dude, and he's just yelling at all of us. And to this day, like I couldn't quite figure out what initiated that happening.
I know what it was.
He was hanging around that building.
Well, I know it was like I don't remember what started him yelling at Jeremy.
He saw all of us running around, and he was like, "Those kids, they don't live here.
Yeah, Jeremy was just the first.
They shouldn't be in this public space because they don't live here." And then he found Jeremy, and that was
so he's yelling at him. I remember, I walked up before Chad a little bit, and he was just like yelling at these people. And I walk up, I'm like, "Hey, what's going on?" And then he starts like yelling at me a little bit, explaining the whole situation. And then Chad comes up.
Well, and that was the thing. Like I do distinctly remember him saying something about us throwing eggs at somebody's house. Like maybe that happened at one point and just pinned that on us for some strange reason.
Nobody we were with ever did that.
Yeah, and so I was like that was like a really weird like thing like that I just remember him saying. And then like so I come up and he's kind of yelling at a few people, and I couldn't. It was one of those things that's like I couldn't really know what he was saying. It was a little bit like. But finally, I was like, what's the problem? And then he turns around, and he's like, who said that? Like, because there's like 20 people here. And
Chad walk up, he's like, what's the problem? And he's like, who said that?
And I was like, me? And I'm thinking, we've met before, obviously. Like,
I was in the red flex. Yeah.
Yeah. Flex, dude. And so he starts yelling at me about all this crap. And then finally, freaking Hayden walks up, and Hayden been working out.
Who lives there?
Yeah, who does live there, by the way. I mean, half the people lived there.
Yeah.
And so Hayden walks up, and Hayden, he was already like in big workout mode, like so he was freaking jacked. So I think he was just ready to do anything, dude.
What was that stuff called? He's drinking
creatine.
Creatine. Yeah.
So Hayden walks up. And the dude starts yelling at Hayden, and the dude's like, y'all don't live here. Hayden's like, I live here. He's like, yeah, what's your address? He's like, and I don't know his address at the time, but he like spewed it off, and he's like, yeah,
no,
what?
I think he was like, I'm not gonna tell you.
Well, no, what had happened was he was like, yeah, where's your ID? He's like, I'm not showing you my ID. What are you, a cop? Like,
yeah.
Like, and so they're both yelling at each other.
The dude, by the way, was hammered.
Oh yeah,
I didn't realize that from the distance, but like,
Will walked up at the very end.
Yeah,
and so. Long story short, we end up leaving.
Don't forget the dog.
Well, yeah, and the dude was like, I remember he had like a laser pointer, and he said, he was like, if you guys come back here, I'm gonna stick that bitch on you or whatever like that. And it's like a labradoodle, like
he's like on the ground, like
the dog was like,
and so we
it's like Xena basically.
Yeah, no, really, like, and so
the whole time this dude had been playing out in the park with his dog. Yeah, literally from the time Chad and I were there.
The dog.
Yeah, from the time Chad and I had the whole incident. 3 hours later, still just out there playing with his dog. I guess just hammering
like a
booze.
Complete psycho.
Well, and so we leave, and one of the guys who was with us, Michael, wanted a ride to his car, and so I gave him a ride to his car. Whose house did he park right in front of? Toilet plunger serial killer man.
I wonder if that's why he was mad, because we parked in front of his house.
But all I remember is I dropped off Michael, and this is one of those things. It's like it's such a vague memory now. I can't recall a single thing he said to me, but I remember him walking up. He was still mad, but it was a lot more like collected, and he was saying something to me again, like inserted himself into my car through my window and said some stuff to me, and I was like, okay,
so
and then I left.
So I don't think I ever told anyone this. So this was like the next week. So I remember that's when I was dating Emily. I guess I'm gonna say it, but she didn't come to that one because she had to babysit. And so.
No. Well, that was the thing. She was there.
No, she wasn't. I promise. I remember. This is how I remember. Okay, because I texted her about it. I remember that, and she's like, "Oh, I wish I was there for that." And I was like, "Okay." And so the next week we played it, or the next time, 2 weeks later, I don't know. she cracked her phone. She dropped it and broke it. And this boggles my mind why someone would make this up. Okay? This is how crazy she was, dude. So
We're late enough in the podcast.
She comes up to me. Yeah, she comes up to me. Her phone's shattered. Okay, like it's pretty bad, And I was like, oh my god, what happened? She's like, oh my god. She's like, that guy from last week. He like came up to me and like started yelling at me, and then he like grabbed my arm, and it made me drop my phone. And I was like, oh my god. I was like, we need to call the police or something. Like if he like out here harassing us and grabbing you and stuff like that, we need to call the police. She kept that story. She stuck that story for like 5 days, and then she was like, I have something to tell you, because she told her parents this too. So, and her parents did call the police. Okay, so they're trying to find this guy for a little bit, or I mean, like the family is. Cops don't care, but like the family's like trying to figure out who this is for like a few days. She comes to me and she's like, I have to tell you something. I was like, what? And she was like, I really just broke my phone because Colby scared me while we were playing Manhunt, and I dropped my phone. I was like, what? I was like, what? What? Yeah.
That's bizarre.
That is nuts, dude.
That's really weird, because I think the next week was also the same night I lost my keys in the grass in Founders Park, and we had to just like walk around with flashlights for like 20 minutes looking for my keys.
I remember that. I was like, why would you make that up?
That's bizarre.
That is attention seeking at its peak.
Yeah, that's
crazy.
That's like mental issues level of
No. I forgot about that until just
that's
now.
That's my serial killer plunger man story.
Yeah, that was a good time. That'll forever be in our memory bank.
It's so weird, dude. It's so weird. Like at the time, we were like, "Was that a plunger?" What was he? He just pointed at us.
From then on, me and Chad were always trying to find this guy. Like we would like drive by that house to see if we could find him. And I remember one time I thought I saw him in public, and I texted Chad. I was like, "Serial killers in Walmart," and then he's like, "No way, dude!" Like it was a big deal.
Wow. Chad, do you remember the Pee Hat in band?
Pee Hat?
So the trumpet section had a thing I named the Pee Hat, and it was one of those Russian hats with the ear flaps.
Oh yeah,
and the thing.
Yeah.
What time are we at? Can you see?
17.
Okay, we're good. And I didn't tell everybody why I called it the Pee Hat. It's because it had pee on it. But I didn't tell everybody
Look at his face. Look at him.
I didn't tell everybody that, but I passed it down to, I think, Jeremy. I think I gave it to Jeremy. And I was like, just pass this down. The Pee Hat stays in the trumpet section. The story behind the Pee Hat is 8th grade at Central. I won a contest with a bunch of other kids. We all had to write a history essay. And the best ones who wrote a history essay got to go to these after-school classes once a week. And then if you went to all of those classes, you got to go on a full tour of like New England, basically, and just every historical site. Like Washington, D.C., we went to Virginia, we went to Jamestown, we went to Boston. I mean, we went freaking everywhere. And we were in Boston, and we were in a mall, and they were like, in 2 hours, meet out front of this mall, just go. And we're in 8th grade in Boston, mind you. Boston.
Just go.
In 8th grade, they're like, just stay in this mall. You know, nobody's going to diddle you. Anyway, so I go to the bathroom, and the stalls, I was with Tyler Wiggins.
Wouldn't you know it, I got diddled.
Fun fact. That is exactly what happened.
So I go to the bathroom, and we had to have buddies, obviously. So I'm with Tyler Wiggins and Daniel Koger, I think. And
oh God,
it was December, so we were in
cold.
The Northeast. Yeah. It was freezing. We went to Arlington National Cemetery, and my legs had went totally numb for like 2 hours.
Nice.
They went totally numb. I was saying it like, you know.
They went. My left leg has gone totally numb.
My left leg has went totally numb. Like, I mean, it was freezing, and so I have this hat. It was like the warmest hat ever. It had a clip on the bottom. I have it clipped on my belt loop.
The Pee Hat?
Right here. The Pee Hat.
Okay.
The Pee Hat. So I go in the stall. It's literally like the size of my body now.
Been there.
And I didn't use the urinals because it's Boston. is disgusting. I mean, it was like a TV show level of disgusting urinals. So I'm in the stall, I'm peeing, you know, I zip my zipper, and I have the hat pinned between my leg and the stall wall. And the other wall is like right here. So I'm just barely leaning to the side to keep my hat pinned there. Wouldn't you know, I'm peeing and it just goes, and I'm just peeing all over my hat.
All over your hat.
Just peeing all over my hat. Midweek, like 4 more days of this trip left, and I just peed all over my hat in Boston in a stall.
That's awesome.
And I take it, and I'm like, it's not real fabric. It was from like Kohl's. And so I just kind of rinse it off in the sink and just kind of like wipe it off with paper towels. I'm like,
Pee Hat is born.
that's what it's going to have to be right now.
Yeah.
And I told Wiggins, I was like, I peed on my hat. And he's like, I don't want to know how that
worry about
happened.
it. Yep.
I don't even
So-
want to know a little bit how that happened.
I feel like I could probably sit here, if I just sat here for 2 or 3 hours, I could tell y'all stories from that relationship that I was in that I haven't told anyone.
We're back to that now.
It always comes back to this.
It's always, dude, that's where the funniest stuff comes from. And this isn't even about the relationship, this one I'm about to tell you.
I want to
In
hear
fact,
more crazy lies.
Yeah, see, again, I could think of some, I'm sure.
Okay.
That's it. You know the dyslexic one? Where she said she's dyslexic?
Yes.
What is...
What is that?
Dude, the vent, it's called an Aventador because it has vents on the door.
But this is not.
That's
This isn't
facts.
about that. So this is actually kind of something else. I feel like you guys might know. You would probably know more than like Will. I don't know.
But Charlie's about to go for a ride.
Yeah,
right?
it's not that. It's not like that. It's not like insane, but it's kind of comical. So have I ever told you guys about the time? I'm gonna kind of give you some little clues here about
It's secondhand. It's okay.
Owen. I don't know his last name.
Bailey?
Yeah, his Jeep. Come on, dude. I'm trying to tell a story here.
Would you be mature on this podcast where we talk about poo-poo and pee?
And something else about to tell you right now.
Should we should we cut these?
Yeah.
Okay, well, and then you can continue before you actually start.
Oh, I told you guys about the time that my bodily fluids entered Owen's Jeep.
No.
Is this something you want to tell?
Oh, yeah. So,
Okay.
I feel like I've told you this. Maybe not. Maybe it'll ring a bell as soon as I tell you. So, back early in this relationship that I had with this woman, you know, we were outside, and everyone came over to her house for some reason. I can't remember why. A lot of people did.
Young wife?
Oh, not a lot of people did. No, what it was, like, I came over, and a bunch of, like, my friends came over to hang out with Jason, okay? Because Jason invited a bunch of people over. And then, you know, she was obviously there. And, so, after...
Is this pre or post? Or during? Like, before you were dating her? Does that matter?
While I was dating
Okay, sorry. I didn't know if that was
During.
relevant.
So, so after hanging out with them for a little bit, I kind of break off. I start hanging out with her, and while I'm about to leave, and so we went out to my car, and you know they live out in a little bit like the boonies, not completely, but it's kind of secluded a little bit.
Off the beaten path.
Yeah, and so no one's around, and so she proceeds to in the street. Man, I feel bad. Like I really hope no one from church is listening to this. Owen Bailey drove his Jeep over. Go wipe it in his Jeep. I'm sorry, I can't believe I've never told y'all that.
What I'm laughing is at how funny you think that is. Like, you're losing your mind, and all of us are, like, ashamed to be in the same room.
This is funny.
Nah.
Charlie,
You have any story like that, Charlie, that you want to share?
Come on, y'all know that's funny. Come on.
are you just a complete degenerate? No,
Am I?
Yes.
That's degenerate level. Like, yeah.
Granted, it wasn't a lot. What? It wasn't.
I'm
a
gonna cut
lot.
that story like I cut your one last week.
Okay, that's fine. Come back in on them laughing though.
Yeah.
So we'll skip over that. And let's change the note here a little bit. So at work, like I feel like with people of color,
Okay.
It's like no. This is
Scratch
isn't-
this again.
Why does he do that every time? Every time he's
This
like,
isn't bad.
he's like, okay, I won't go there.
This isn't bad.
Black people.
Hey, I never said I wouldn't. I never said I wouldn't
Malignant.
go here. This isn't as bad as it's sounding to start. Okay.
Malignant. What do you
I
think
wanna-
about Charlie?
Charlie,
Barrels?
did you have a Boy Scout story from last week? You said you had one, but you
no,
felt
no,
like
he
you had
told the
told
Boy
it.
Scout story.
You
Not
said you had a
Boy
creepy
Scout
story or
yeah.
something.
Well, it was kind of like a scary.
It's
creepy-
spooky hours now.
It's kind of. I mean, and I had told it already whenever we were starting to talk about like ghosts and crap.
Yeah.
Oh,
Before
yeah.
Video and everything.
I
But-
want to hear the
You wanna
ghost
hear-
story.
Go
I
listen
saw
to
a ghost.
go to our podcast.
I want to hear the ghost story.
So we were living. I was 14, probably, and we were living in this old farmhouse out in Wesley, like out in the middle of nowhere, towards Huntsville.
Okay.
Farmhouse, so 2-story. My sister and my bedroom were upstairs, and you go in the front door, and it's kind of in a hallway that splits the downstairs, and then there's stairs right inside the front door. But if you go to the right, it's the living room. Well, I was coming from the living room into the hallway to go upstairs, and I turned to go upstairs, and I saw a woman walking up the stairs, and she was like dressed in like a Victorian style dress. She was translucent, like I could see through her. I could see the wall and the window behind her.
Yeah, I've heard this.
And she like turned around. She got to the top of the stairs and turned, and by the time I got up the stairs to look, because she'd like disappeared out of my eyesight, I went to look, and she was just gone. And wasn't that exciting,
Wow.
but
Was it an old house?
yeah, it was like
Oh.
over 100 years old.
This is an old house. Oldish.
Yeah,
Is it that old?
From the 50s.
50s.
That's not that old.
That's not that old.
Kinda
Not
old.
that old.
Yeah,
It's pretty
seven-
Old enough for
seven
somebody
years.
to have died in.
pretty old
We
for
also,
here.
we also kind of think maybe the previous owner died in the house here.
I think they have to tell you that.
Do they?
I'm pretty sure they do.
Do they?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they do.
I heard that in a show. Yeah, I don't know if it's accurate.
Well,
They
Property
wouldn't
Brothers.
have been like a thing on the listing. They would have like told you in person.
In the listing,
We never
Beautiful
met,
hardwood
never
floors.
met
They,
the seller.
by the way,
Rooms.
died
Someone
in it. Somebody like, I mean, if you see them, I mean, they did die here.
We
They
should
did
have
die here.
called the ghost realtor. Make sure the place is free of anything.
is that from
It's-
Nathan for you?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That episode was so cringy, dude.
Yeah. She's just laying there, and he's like, "Is she okay?" 'Cause she kind of looks like she's dead. Yeah, but
I'm sorry. You will be.
You will.
did you like that comment earlier? I said
Yes.
that.
Yes, I'm on it.
Megan was
here's the
like,
thing,
"I'm sorry,
Did you make
you will
that
be."
meme, or did you have that?
No, I made that meme.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you sent it so quick. I was like, man, he'd have.
Dude,
that
I'm fast
pat.
on the memes. I've been in meetings all morning. On Mondays meetings, I'm making memes.
Just having them on the ready.
I'm like AI enhanced. I'm deep frying your baby.
Those are
like-
funny, dude. Those enhancement things are so funny. Do you guys not think they're funny?
I think they're weird. I don't get
understand
it.
It's
an
so
AI
bad.
that like tries to recreate a face in like a blurry picture. And sometimes it's really good, but sometimes it's not.
Like the one of you earlier wasn't bad.
that was good. Yeah,
That's why I said
the
it was like
one of you, it
95%.
always makes your face look flat.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
Do I have a flat face?
No, you don't at all. That's why it looks weird. No, actually,
Have you heard the thing that like if your hand is bigger than your face, you have cancer?
Yeah.
Chad, I had a story I randomly remembered the other day, and I wanted to know. Well, I guess you too, because you went there. If it matched up to your experience, or if you saw anything like this at Harbor. So one day I went to the bathroom, by the band room,
Yep.
and had to take a poopy. So I'm sitting on the toilet. I use the handicap stall, by the
Yeah,
way.
absolutely.
By the way,
Who doesn't?
I mean, there were like 2 handicapped kids.
Well, and one
My
of them
parents
wasn't
would hate
really.
you guys.
Like she just like had
We're not
her
gonna talk
ankle
about
in a
that
wrap.
one.
Yeah, Turbo. Anyway, you know her.
Yeah.
She's like a total hypochondriac. Anyway, I was in there and I'm like, doing my business. Got to wipe, get the toilet paper. I see like a tail,
Oh yeah.
like a lizard's tail.
Oh no.
Oh no, yeah, no, I know what you're thinking about.
I don't know what either of you are
I
thinking
see
about.
like a lizard's tail on the freaking toilet paper thing, and I'm like,
What?
I'm like, are there? Do we have a pest problem?
on the dispenser? Like
yeah, like
little,
on the top. You know, on the silver thing.
Okay.
On the top.
Just the tail, or is he like
Just the
hitting,
tail.
Like, okay.
And then I see the rest of the body,
Okay.
which has been torn apart. There's the head on the rail, and the body a little bit further down the rail, and then some of his feet on the floor.
We went to school with a serial killer.
It like a little salamander, but somebody definitely like whipped this thing around and like splatted it on the wall or something.
Oh my god!
No.
And I was
And
like,
it was in the handicap stall.
in the handicap stall.
You know what that means?
Some
Okay. So my next question is, what tail are you? What are you talking
It's like a
about?
furry.
the
like,
furry.
Oh.
Yeah.
Honestly, though,
By the way, a real problem there.
you should literally just cut this whole episode right when you say
Problem?
come in strong with our theme song and just the guys afternoon in.
Okay.
Watch it, boop, boop, boop,
That's
boop,
good.
boop.
That's good. Yeah, anything like that?
No.
Anything?
Tails?
Animals in the bathroom?
No.
I remember there was one day a guy brought a snake to school and kept
Oh,
it in
you
his
got another
pocket.
one. You got another. Okay.
Kept it in his pocket.
I told you about
Actually-
the possum.
I feel like I do know what you're talking about there, but I went to at Harbor, but like in a different story. I was at Walmart one day with my brother, and we went down this aisle, and I was looking for something. I grabbed it, and I started leaving. My brother's like, "Yo, that dude's got a snake." Just a dude holding a snake, like looking at stuff.
Let's see. Wheat.
Dude just had this like little python like wrapped around his hand. Like
What do you think?
You know,
and
that's the perfect way to get people to not like crowd you.
and that's the thing. It's
Snake.
Hey, do you see my snake?
So we were at my brother's bachelor party this last weekend. One of the guys, JC, first night, he's like, "Oh, I forgot something out on the car." So he goes out there. It's like 10 or 11 o'clock by now. He goes out there, and then he comes back in, and he's like, "I need to put on some shoes." And then he's like, "There's a big snake out there." Surely enough, there's a snake out there, like that big. It was like that thick. Copperhead.
Wow.
Almost stepped on it.
Oh!
He
Almost stepped on it. Out in the middle. We're an hour from the nearest hospital.
I have a coworker that
Wow.
they were building a house and they had their whole family in an RV on the land while they were building it. I'm talking like mom, dad, and 2 daughters in an RV.
It's a little tight.
I work with the mom and the dad. But the mom one night, she had sandals on. She was going outside to do something. Takes 2 steps off the porch, steps on a copperhead, bites her on that foot, steps on it with the other foot, bites her on that foot.
Lie, nice. Yeah.
Went
that's
right to the hospital.
Oh, man.
Just one night in the hospital.
Wow.
You ever
I mean,
wonder how you
brutal.
react to getting bit by a snake?
But I'd freak out.
Like,
I would
like,
absolutely
oh my God,
freak out.
oh my God. Or you
See-
used to be like, well, shoot.
See, like if I didn't know I stepped on it and I felt the pain, like I feel like my first thing would be like, "What the hell is that?"
I'd probably
And then-
think I like stepped on a stick. And
Yeah,
like,
and I
stabbed
feel
myself.
like my first like, and then when I stepped away, like I might see it, and I was like, "Was that bit by a
Or
snake?"
did it bite her on the bottom of her feet?
it bit her right on both ankles. Both
Yeah,
ankles.
yeah, no. I mean, I feel like that hurts a lot more than you'd think.
Well,
It probably
but it's
does,
also one of
but
those
who
things like if you don't know pain is happening, sometimes it doesn't like quite register.
it doesn't
with
no,
you.
dude,
quite the same.
but so A, snake fangs are sharp, and B,
Yeah.
the venom stings.
Does it?
Like,
I have
it
no
hurts
idea.
like getting a wasp.
Copperheads hurt a lot more as time passes. Like 3 hours in is like peak pain.
Well, it's like think about a wasp. They've got venom, and when they stab you, what hurts is the venom immediately. So if a snake has venom,
I don't know
they're
about
freaking. Is it not?
I'm
felt
pretty
like-
sure it's because the sharp stinger and they just whack you with it.
Yeah, that's what I
don't
thought.
know.
That's
The
what
pain
hurts,
came
and then
from.
it stings. That's the venom, and then
Yeah.
it swells up because your body's like.
I was about to say, I
rejecting
thought the
When
pain
I've
came
gotten
from the.
When I've gotten stung by like a bee, like they're not aggressive. When I've gotten stung by a bee, I stepped on one and it
Yeah.
stung my toe immediately, dude. Like it's burning.
But also one of those things. It's like you know that pain is happening. You see it, and then I'm sure it almost like to you feels worse.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, I didn't know I stepped on a bee.
Like I remember as a kid, I got stung by a yellow jacket, and I could see it, and it stung me, and I was like freaking out. And I get that now I'm a lot older, but the last time I was stung by a yellow jacket, which was very randomly in the work restroom, weird.
You don't mess around with them either.
Nah, I don't mess with that thing.
You're like the
from that from being as a
He
kid.
almost made me drive off the road because there was this.
You almost drove off the
in
road
our
yourself because there was a
Because he
wasp.
was running into my lap.
But like I got stung by a yellow jacket at work, and I felt it, and it was like, what is that? And then when I saw it, it hurt a lot worse.
Well, yeah, yellow jackets aren't even. I just have a feeling. It's like when you put alcohol on a wound, it burns.
Yeah.
I feel like if a venom goes into your body, you're gonna feel that like right away.
Yeah, probably.
But on a separate note, semi-separate, I need to show you this video when we're done. So, I'm gonna tell you what it is, and I'll show you the video after we're done. So I go outside, and we have the privacy fence, you know, the wooden fence, and there's a spot where it's a corner, and there's a gap in between there, about this big. And so I don't know how I happened across this. I go outside a lot with my daughter and play with the dog, and she plays with the dog. And so I happened to kind of see in that crack there was a wasp nest. Okay, I was like, oh shoot, I ain't having that. So I've got some pest spray, you know, and I go out there, and I bring my fly swatter too.
Nice.
So I go in there and I spray them, and when you're looking at it, the nest is like this big, okay? And when I looked at there, I saw like 2 wasps, okay? And I was like, I got this, dude. I got this. So I spray in there. 2 wasps come out, and like they're kind of stunned from it. And I come to find out this crap didn't work very well. Like they came out, they're like kind of just like,
the hell is that?
basically like, what's going on? And so I'd smack them, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna get this nest out of here.
Wait,
so,
you're dual wielding?
yeah, I'm spraying and hitting, yeah.
Nice.
So I'm like, I'm gonna get this nest out of here. So I have these little things from a fence that I have for my dog. It's like little posts. They're very thin. So I go and I reach in there and I'm like trying to get it out. Dude, like 10 wasps start coming out of those things, and I'm like, and dude, so like I start smacking them, dude, and then like they just start getting like pissed, dude. And so I just take off running, bro, and like I'm like squirting behind me as
So of the hornet dance.
I was at work like a week ago. I was setting up for the morning shift, so I was putting all the pizza rings and stuff outside on the patio, and there's wasps that fly around out there from time to time, but like
There's food.
yeah. So
stuff.
but this one started messing with me, like flying in my face. So I was like, all right. So I went inside, got the wasp killer. I came back out. I kind of got it right on him. Missed by a mile. He starts flying around like in my face, and I start squirting this stuff all over the place.
Is it the stuff that shoots like 40 feet too?
Yeah,
Of
and
course.
then
yeah, of course.
and it gets all over the windows that I have to clean up now. And I'm like, didn't
I'd
kill
love
it.
to see
It flew off.
Chef's like security camera just sees you and just.
And there's nothing on the camera. You're just like,
Tell me, dude. Tell me if I'm wrong, okay?
You're wrong.
Wasps, like.
wrap this.
Yeah, we gotta wrap this.
We gotta wrap
But
this.
I'll end it
bro.
with this. Tell me this.
I'm
Wasps,
freaking
like.
falling asleep, bro. All
Government
right,
housing.
They get
all
them
right.
government
Wrap
checks a
it.
week.
Wrap
We're
it.
done.
All right, peace.